The construction apocalypse continues as Snowdon is in trouble. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here. Welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and I want to have a look at this article from news.com.au discussing, well, Snowdon developments down in Victoria. Now, we've been following the articles about them for a few weeks, and this seems to be another developer in trouble. Now, the problem is the articles itself can be enough to destroy confidence people has, and they can be, well, the construction equivalent of a run on the bank. So let's have a look here and, well, I guess help with that process, sadly enough. Creditor Watch releases a damning report on the crumbling Victorian construction company Snowdon developments. Now, the issue is here, frankly, the subbies who are going to get done. I'm sure most people's houses will eventually get resolved one way or another. It may be a little bit more of a painful process. What we'll have to see. Concerns are mounting over an embattled building firm as a damning credit report has concluded the company will likely collapse. Okay, so, well, the thing is, no one's going to want to do business with them anymore. If you're a trader or a business and they approach you to work on a project, you're going to want to be paid up front. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? Earlier this week, clients, creditors and staff came forward to news.com.au with fears the Victorian company, Snowdon Developments, was on the brink of collapse. Several employees revealed they hadn't received superannuation payments since October, while some customers' bills had stalled for months, leading several to financial ruin. News.com.au understands there are more than 200 residential homes in the pipeline to be built. Now, the super one, I remember I'd tell my staff, make sure, because often this is their first job, make sure you get your super paid where you can see it. Think about it. You need to check it. You need to see it. If it's off in some fund you never pay attention to, you'll never know if you don't get paid. Because I know people at university who'd worked for years for architects, got fired, no super had been paid. None of it had been paid. It appeared on their pay slips. It disappeared on their pay slips. And it's the reason I wanted them to see it was because that was costing me money. And I wanted them to appreciate they were getting the bloody super. That's kind of part of the reason why I think people should be forced to pay super themselves. So your company doesn't do it, you get it, and then you're required to transfer that into the super fund. Oh, and I know it would be a nightmare. It would be a mess. The super funds would hate it. People would advocate for choice to actually use their money for what they want. You know, that'd be much too individual responsibility for the nanny state that is Australia. But still, then people would appreciate it a little bit more. Maybe the super funds would have to compete a bit harder. Anyway, back to this. I'm going off topic again. On top of that, Snowdon Developments has 15 creditors chasing it for debts of more than $2.5 million, who are demanding the Supreme Court of Victoria impose a wind-up order to force the company to go into liquidation on the grounds of insolvency. Well, see, that's nothing special. You can do that if you need to. When someone's not paying their bills, I've done it before. ASIC are a pain in the ass, but still, good luck to them. Because this is trading while insolvent, which they allowed. Remember, years ago, back when we had the pandemic and the lockdowns, they changed the rules. They changed the rules to allow people to trade while insolvent. So every year as a company, you need to sign a letter, send it to ASIC and say that you're solvent, you're not trading while you're insolvent. You've got the money to pay your bills as they fall due. I know it feels like some people don't have that, particularly big businesses that drag out their expenses. But anyway, back to this. That's why they're winding them up. It understands some of those debts have been paid off, and the company claims it can afford to pay off the rest of its expenses after the sale of a property asset next month. So they may not. Well, the reputational damage may be there. I mean, the rumor mill will spread in the construction sector. People will talk. One Snowdon subcontractor is working past retirement age as he tries to support himself while he waits for a $480,000 payment from the company. And another creditor says he's struggling to feed his family. That's That's the harsh reality of the construction game, guys. That really is. That's the shit thing about it. Particularly if these people are small business owners. Okay, when you see all the comments on the Twitter and from the lefties and the nutters attacking evil business owners, subbies are business owners, guys. They're small business owners. Okay, it's like some people don't have enough experience to understand some of the stuff they're talking about. They all seem to be on one side of politics. Maybe there's a pattern there. I blame it on the vegetarianism, not enough red meat. So, News.com has obtained a report from Creditor Watch which found Snowdon's payment times have blown out over the last year. And it also has a risk score off the scale at a 0 rating of F. So there you go, guys. I mean, what's the longest you've ever waited to get paid? I've only had a couple people not pay me and stiff me. I've had a few people take very long to pay. But normally I'm dealing business to business, so it hasn't really been that much of a problem. Snowdon is currently embroiled in one court action and has 5 registered defaults against it. Another company Snowdon's directors are involved with, Pivot Construction Group Proprietary Limited, is also facing default in court action, which Creditor Watch said was cause for concern. Since April, when legal actions were first taken against Snowdon, the company's credit risk score dropped to an F, which means one or more creditors have initiated legal proceedings or other significant actions in response to unpaid debt obligations, or the entity is entering or has entered insolvency. So Snowdon Development maintained a steady credit score over the past 3 quarters, but quickly plummeted from 510 out of 800, to a score of 510 out of 850 in March to 0 in April, indicating likely failure within the next year, according to Creditor Watch. Its payment rating isn't much better, sitting at D, with the report warning it is high repayment risk and that cash-on-demand trading is recommended. There you go. That's it, right there. Right there, cash on demand. I mean, this article shows the value of paying for one of these reports, particularly if you're talking big sums from a big builder, everyone. You know, it's probably worth it. I haven't been done with any of the big guys. They've always paid. They've been a pain in the ass. I've had to chase them sometimes. But it's more so the smaller, dodgier operators that have stung me. And I guess I'm not alone in that regards. You think, okay, a big business, there's some scale there, you should be okay. Snowdon is on average 40 days overdue on its payments, when the industry average is just 7. Businesses with average arrears of more than 30 days are among the worst 15 to 20% of payers nationally. Small to medium-sized businesses in this category are on average 3 times the insolvency risk of businesses that pay on time. It comes as Creditor Watch has warned that the state of the construction industry is in a dire situation. Construction has the worst late payment of any industry, they said in a paper. Well, yeah, it does. We're not like the lawyers. The lawyers are, mate, if you... the lawyers will set up a trust account and they'll get people to pay into the trust account. Then they'll withdraw the money out of the trust account when they can to get payment. It's insane. It is insane. No risk. Could you imagine that? Wow. Wouldn't that be great, guys? But you know why? Because people go to lawyers when they're afraid. That's why. About 12% of the construction businesses are more than 60 days in arrears on their payments to suppliers. The risk is that construction collapses cascade down, creating a chain reaction of failed businesses that could have a serious impact on Australia's economic recovery. One creditor, news.com.au, previously spoke to Nick Mihailovic. Did I get that right? Probably not. Oh, close. Has been waiting for more than... more than 3 years for a $480,000 payment from Snowdon for his bricklaying jobs. $500,000. Mate, how do you let it get that high? How many jobs is that? I guess see, this is the thing. You've got a relationship there. you want to keep the relationship going. If you suddenly halt payment, the work might stop, or if you suddenly halt work might stop. There has to be a bit of give and take too in these situations. So, crap. Since 2019, he's been demanding he be paid for the work he did and the materials he sourced for Snowdon. I'm financially ruined, he said. I'm 67 years of age, and I've got to keep working. I've got to make money, or my debt's to pay. Michael Hassan's company, MD Demolitions, is one of the 15 creditors taking Snowdon to the Supreme Court after waiting more than a year for $103,000 owed to be paid back. Mr. Hassan, with 3 young kids to support, as well as 30 staff who work for him, has visited Snowdon's Killore Park office 6 times to get his money. There was no money coming into the account to feed the family or pay off the workers, he told News.com earlier this week. He's refusing to work for them anymore until his debt has been paid. Yeah, you get a point where $100,000 outstanding. Yep, you got to stop. You got to stop. And it's hard, guys. It can be hard sometimes. Because do you want to destroy a relationship for what could just be a month? And could be lots of work, but then you could be like the old dude there, owed nearly $500,000. A third subcontractor who spoke to news.com.au, John, said he mostly had to wait between 45 to 60 days for Snowdon to pay him since beginning working with them in 2019. But for the past 8 months, he's been waiting on $30,000 owed to him, and said that any builder that takes longer than 90 days to pay a subcontractor was a red flag. I mean, it's kind of sad that 90 days, longer than 90 days, up to 90 days, oh yeah, sure, 89 days, yeah, but 90 days, it's a different game, guys. It is a different game. A lot of the builders will just try and drag out those invoices as long as they can. And often it depends on who you're working with too in the building company. You can have some asshole that just doesn't want to pay you. Oh, it's fun and games. This is part of the reason why I've scaled down my business, so I don't have mouths to feed. That's one of the most stressful things. Not even not getting paid. It's not getting paid and having all these people here that are working for you. That's the worry of it, guys. Then when it started stretching to 90 days, we stopped working for them. We pulled the pin because the signs showed us it could be trouble, job sitting unfinished. When you start hearing that, it's time to stop. There have been 765 credit inquiries into Snowdon over the last 5 years, but 564 of those have come through in the last 12 months. So there you go. A mercantile agent, a debt collection agency with a mercantile agent license, also viewed Snowdon's credit history. This type of inquiry has left Snowdon with a mark on its credit file. The mercantile inquiry was lodged on June 20. The same day, the news.com.au first revealed Snowdon appeared to be on the edge of disaster. Casabine Plumbing first initiated legal action against Snowdon in April after the builder did not pay them $38,000 owed to them. The plumbers began winding up proceedings against Snowdon, and although the construction company swiftly paid the debt, by then 14 other creditors had joined the case. See, that's what you want to happen. You want to initiate wind-up proceedings to give them a kick so they have to pay you, so they magically find the money, But, I mean, who is going to work for this mob again now? And here's the thing, you've got to follow the people as well. Court documents show East West Roofing applied to appear in the hearing because they are owed $936,000. Shit. While Home and Industry sold us, we read about them before, $685. State Revenue Zone $262. Tamar Cabinets wants $174. Other creditors include Just Metal Roofing, Dassel Building Centers, Waco Kiwi Form, Top Cat Installations, MyTech Australia, Bingo Waste Services, a whole lot. 2 individuals are also owed $11,511 who joined the case. Other creditors who have not yet joined the court action include Jumbo Corp, claiming Snowdon owes them $54,000 in outstanding payments, and Specialized Plumbing, Drainage, Roofing, claiming to be owed $102,000. When added up, out of those creditors, Snowdon owes more than $2.5 million. $2.5 million bucks. This is what this is demonstrating, everyone, is how when a developer or builder gets into trouble and starts falling down and just is owing people money here, here. These are just the subbies. Then you've also got all the people who are waiting on their houses to be finished. So while construction is awesome for a government to manipulate the economy and supercharge everything, when it goes down, it can hurt a lot of people. So it goes both ways. Pivot Construction Group, a sister company of Snowdon's with the same directors and staff and registered in the same location on ASIC files, also has 2 registered defaults and 1 court action taken against it. Wilson Plumbing Bendigo took Pivot to court at the end of May for a $39,000 default judgment hearing. It's understood some of the money Snowdon and Pivot owes creditors has already been paid off, and they were taken to court, including to the State Revenue Office and Casa Beam Plumbing. I mean, this could just be they've been screwed over by the supply issues, by material prices, by fixed price contracts, and they're trying to do whatever they can to keep going. That could be the problem too. You know, so they could be stuck in a rock and a hard place, guys. And Victoria, you had all the lockdowns too, and limitations on people on construction sites. The longer projects last, the more they cost you. Ace Fencing and Outdoor Constructions also registered a default payment against Snowdon in August last year, but it's understood their $19,000 debt had been settled. Best Bar was another creditor chasing a Pivot for $111, but the money's been paid. Snowdon claims other expenses can be paid after July 4th once they've sold a property. The next hearing and wind-up order is on July 4th. Logan, a current Snowdon employee, said that the company owed substantial sums to at least 50 suppliers who were all now refusing to do business with them. There's a list, it's an extensive list, he told news.com.au earlier this week. At least 50 suppliers aren't completing jobs for Snowdon in the hopes of getting paid. Snowdon said, our Snowdon staff are beset by problems on all sides, according to Logan, with his colleagues being accosted by angry creditors or customers. We've got trucks parked in the car park blocking our cars, so we can't go out because the tradies, haven't been paid. More than 50% of staff have quit over the last few months, with the firm going from 70 employees to just 30. I mean, shit, would you want to stay there in that environment? You wouldn't want your name associated with it. Superannuation in particular was one reason for the massive staff exodus, with some staff claiming they hadn't received superannuation payments since October last year, and another sign of how much Snowdon is struggling financially. Logan, who's worked for the company for a number of years, said staff learned several months ago they were not receiving the money supposed to be going into their super, although it appears super was being deposited according to their pay slips. One staff member went into their superannuation fund and realized no money was being put in and then alerted the others. See, that's what you've got to do. If you're a worker bee working for someone else, don't trust them. Check your super. This is why I advocate, and it's never going to happen, people getting paid super and then having to deposit it themselves, because then you know it's happened. Because, you know, it's just another pile of cash. They'll be sitting there in an account. If they're desperate, they're going to draw on it. Then we asked the company about it, confirming that no super was being paid, and then nothing else has been said since. News.com.au has cited a document which confirms Logan has not received a super contribution from his October since October. Australia's building industry is in crisis, with many companies going into liquidation so far this year amid rising costs for construction materials and ongoing supply chain issues. And this is the standard wrap-up that they seem to be adding to all of these articles at the moment, where you've got ProBuild, Condev, all the Hobart lot, Pivotal, yeah. You've got a lot. So let's have a talk about this. The lesson here for everyone is to see how construction just flows through the economy. It's a very effective way to stimulate the economy. This is why our politicians love it. They use it all the time. But, well, if it's a very effective way to stimulate economy, it's a very effective way to destroy one too. So, what can you say? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there's a few ways you can support us. You can financially support us via YouTube or Patreon. Use any of our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and chase those invoices. Oh, shit, $500,000. Damn. You got to have your stop figure. You got to know when to stop service. You got to know.